Fall means taking care of all of your potted plants, and if you're like us, you have potted plants dotted all across your property, and there's different care that you need to take into account dependent on your plant that you have potted. So we're gonna go over how to make sure that you can winterize your garden so that it is successful and what to do with all of your plants. And the first thing to think about is the actual pot that your plants are in. Oh, I'm gonna put this down for a second. Okay, so terracotta is definitely a fan favorite for gardens. I love the look of it, but it doesn't necessarily winterize that well, and it can be prone to cracking. We have a bunch of cracks on this one, as you can see, luckily just on the edges, but any type of plants that are in this, you definitely want to bring them in to more of a sheltered place. And any plants that might not be good for that cold, hardy weather, you're also going to want to bring into a sheltered place. A sheltered place can be something like a garage, an unheated greenhouse, a barn, anything of the likes. We have a big patio peach tree that we have in a nice big pot, and we go ahead and throw her into our barn for the winter. And what this does is the plant will actually go dormant during the winter period. So we make sure to water all of our potted plants, and then any of the plants that go dormant we will put into the shed that are in pots that can't really bear the cold winter weather. What's really great about this is you just want to set them up for success, and then you can bring them out come the spring. So pay attention to all of your frost dates, know exactly when you need to bring all of your plants in and when you can bring them back out again. Paying attention to your zone, your area, and the typical frost dates is going to be key in the success of all of your potted plants. Now, the world is completely weird and off kilter. It's 80 and it's nearly November. So I don't really know what's going on in our zone 7 right now, but I'm loving it, and it's allowed for some of our plants to stay out a little bit later, although we're running out of time. When you are thinking of the right pot, some pots that you might want to look into are some nice handy dandy plastic pots. Although they are not super pretty, these are just the ones that we got from the store when we got them. But you can also get some really nice painted ceramic pots. Ooh, like this one, but she's real heavy, so it's not really the best if you have to bring it in and out. Oh my goodness. There's also a lot of dirt in here, but she fares well in the colder weather. And another pot that I absolutely love, and we have a bunch of, is this foamy one. What's really great about this pot is it is so lightweight, so you can actually be moving it in and out all season, all year, and it's really easy to move around your property. I love them. I'll try to find some and link them down below because they're amazing for a potted plant, and you can paint them. You can spray paint them and make them match your property. The type of plant is going to be really important in this process. So you're either going to have a nice hardy plant that you can actually just leave outdoors, I think maybe an evergreen type plant, or you're going to have something that needs to actually be brought inside. So we have our Meyer lemon in a ceramic pot, and she's actually producing a lot of fruit here. We have some lemons on here, but it started to get a little colder, so we brought her in so that they can start to turn. And anything that's more tropical or would be in a much warmer zone, you might want to actually just bring into your house. Anything that's hardier, you can just go ahead and leave out. And there's a few things that you can do to actually prepare those plants to take on the colder temperatures. One is you can go ahead and mulch around the pot. So make sure that you're mulching with either a wood mulch, straw, or anything of the likes to keep it nice and warm. The most important thing is you want to keep the roots warm. If this plant were actually buried in the ground, it's going to have all of the dirt around it, keeping it warm and insulated, but the pot is going to let out a lot of that heat. So anything you can do to keep the roots warm is going to be key. So you might also want to just insulate the pot, put something on the outside, and make sure that she's warm. Another thing that you can do, depending on the type of plant, I love to do a fall pruning of our plants. So you can go ahead, prune back any of the leaves, any of the new growth, anything that you might want to shape into. Or if you're leaving it out, you might actually want to do a spring pruning that's ooh, this way. The additional area around it, the leaves might be able to actually keep it warm and shaded from a lot of the cold winds or snow or any of the outside elements that could harm your plant. If you are going to go ahead and put your plant into a sheltered space, I suggest that you thoroughly water your plant beforehand. Make sure that the soil is nice and moist. And then what you want to do is go ahead and put your potted plants on something that's going to be raising them above the ground. So maybe some slots of wood or something that's going to keep it up so that the water can still drain through. This way the water isn't trapped inside and the water doesn't freeze inside of your pot. One, it could break your pots. Two, it could just create a colder environment. And three, anything you can do to just get out that water is going to be key in the success of your plants so that it doesn't have too much extra moisture that can freeze and harm your plants. In a safe and secure place, you want to make sure that you're protecting it against any rodents or bugs. So you might want to wrap your tree or at least have it in a space that bugs and rodents aren't going to go in and start creating their own winter home as well. That's why we love our barn, because it's already pretty fortified, so things can't get in there. They're little micey that can go in there and kind of create their home inside of a pot, because that ain't going to be good and we don't want them to eat our plants while we're in there. If you do have a more delicate plant that can get really cold, then what you might want to do is actually wrap the stem of the plant. And you can also put a heat protector around the plant as well to help keep that air in. And if it's more of a tropical plant and you can't bring it into your house, you might want to provide either a heating pad or heaters inside of the area to keep the plant warm and secure from all of the cold weather that is outside. The most important thing to remember is that you're doing the best you can to protect your plants, and you want to make sure that you're keeping a really good watch on the frost dates. So you're getting them in as soon as you can. You're giving them everything that they need to be fully sheltered from the wind, the snow, any animals, and you're making sure to bring them back out again at the last frost for spring when it starts getting warmer and they can start to come out in the sun, the beauty, and start enjoying the spring season, start growing some more flowers, buds, leaves, anything. And I hope that this was helpful. See you guys again next time. Bye.